Well, it's great to see everybody here. Anthony and I are excited to tell you about Learning to Give and our work empowering youth and their community through service and service learning. Anthony, do you want to tell who you are and your connection to social studies?
Yeah, in fact, we have a small enough group, I think we can get a lay of the land. So my name is Anthony Salsiccioli. I am a social studies teacher at Livonia Clarenceville, and I teach world history, philosophy, and now AP. But a few years ago, I got involved with Learning to Give, and I really love it because I think we've been inundated with so many political things and, keeping up with our Huskies and the changes and all that stuff that really takes us away. Where Learning to Give is really at the core of what we all do, regardless if you're teaching first grade or high school, which is, having kids give of their time, their talent, and their treasure to make their school better, their community better. It's just basically being a good person. And it's been a lot of fun for me to incorporate Learning to Give into my classroom because it's when I see my students at their best, and it makes me happy. So that's my story briefly. And Betsy's background is more of an elementary background. And the reason there's two of us is if there's elementary specific questions, please ask Betsy. And if there's secondary questions, please ask me.
With that in mind, we'd love to hear in the chat what grade levels you teach. So we have more of a sense of who's in the room. I come from a elementary background, but I am currently employed by Learning to Give. I'm the director of Learning to Give. So yeah, tell us what you teach.
You have 6th grade, 10 through 12, 10th grade, 11th and 12th, 11th and 12th, 7th, 10 through 12.
A lot of high school, a lot of secondary. I don't think I've seen anything below 6th grade. Oh, wait, I did just see something. K through 12 instructional technology coach. Oh, awesome.
Retired in quotations, yeah. Congratulations.
I'm going to keep one eye on the waiting room, make sure nobody's waiting.
Yeah, and I know it might be a little bit of a misnomer. You look at the first screen and there's little ones here doing philanthropy at their school. But Learning to Give, it genuinely is a K through 12 sort of program that works for any grade level. And again, having kids better their schools and better their world and giving of themselves, doesn't matter. You can be 5 or you can be 95. Any human being can do this. So, see.
We're going to start by sharing with you a video that defines philanthropy because the basis of everything that's on Learning to Give's website and resources is about the concept of philanthropy, which is not just about people giving money. And what we teach through Learning to Give is about how we use our time and talent for the good of all. So I'm going to just start this really brief video and have a little grace from me as I shift over to this video.
Philanthropy. It's a pretty big word and an important one too. It comes from the Greek philo, which means friend. And if you translate it directly, it is love of mankind, or caring about your community. Philanthropy is about doing something with that love and care to make someone else's life better. Some people think it's about giving money to a charity, giving some of your treasure to someone else who needs it. Treasure isn't just about dollars. It could be a gently used toy, or a copy of a book you give to someone in need. That's part of it, but there are also two other T words that are just as important: time and talent. Giving of your time is a special one-of-a-kind gift because no one else can give your time away. Only you can. You could spend an afternoon serving lunch to kids who don't have enough food. You could play cards or share stories with folks in a retirement home. You might put together care packages to thank and inspire service members overseas. Or you could get to know Fido and help walk dogs at the local rescue center. Maybe you have a special talent. You're good at building things. Or you can convince others to join a cause. Anyone can be a philanthropist. Everywhere you look, there are opportunities to help. And in today's digital world, we can learn about what's going on down the street and around the world. We can connect and take action wherever we are. Think about it. You can donate a little of your treasure to help victims of floods or earthquakes in far-off lands. You can volunteer with organizations or inspire your classmates to make care packages when you notice a need. Even work virtually with others on the same goals, like an anti-bullying campaign or a clean water movement. When you share your time, talent, or treasure, it's like planting a seed. Before you know it, up pops a whole orchard. Your friends and neighbors see what you've done and they start planting too. They're smart. They don't want to be left out. Philanthropy truly does make the world go round. Without nonprofits and people who ask questions and seek answers, our society would be broken. Government and businesses can't possibly address all the issues, but philanthropists and givers of time, talent, or treasure can help fill in the gaps. And you have a role to play. From one little act of kindness, you can make an enormous difference. Oh, and here's the best part. Philanthropy is fun. Fun for those who benefit from your good work, and even more fun for you.
No matter what age you are, you can always help. I want to be helpful to people. I want to be kind to them so that in the future that people can help me.
It's nice to see people giving back, and it's nice to know that you're part of that.
It makes me feel happy and good inside.
I like to know that people are getting a smile on their face because of the work that we've done.
So we want to encourage you to feel relaxed in this session and talk, unmute, write in the chat box and share your thoughts. How do you think you might use a 3-minute video like that with your students? Is that something that would work in the virtual environment? How might you add questions, thoughtful consideration as you use a video like that? And Anthony, maybe you have some ideas on that too.
Well, I see things in kind of pragmatic, practical terms, at the high school level. And I think the majority of the people from the chat said they were high school teachers. And I know every high school or majority high schools have National Honor Society, and National Honor Society students need to engage in philanthropic acts for X amount of hours, and Learning to Give fits the bill. I am not the National Honor Society person, but my colleague uses some Learning to Give materials, and it's easy for him, it's easier for the kids. There's a lot of ideas. Also in civics, whether it's a capstone project or whether it's summation of the civics class, there's philanthropic acts that are in line with what Learning to Give offers. And what I like about it is sometimes, especially at MCSS conferences, where Adam and you and I are veterans, sometimes you get inundated with conferences and you felt like it was adding to your burden, or you're saying, I had enough time. Where with Learning to Give, I find it easy to pepper it in with what I'm already doing. And I'll give you one more tangible example. Our school is, every year we have a Black History Month assembly and related items. And there's a group that forms to plan that, and piggybacking off of that, we do a day of service. We do an active service along with that, and it builds school solidarity with pre-existing groups, homerooms, civics class, NHS, these extracurricular groups, which I'm one of the coaches on. So with Learning to Give, I think good teachers are already doing this. This gives us some ideas, and it codifies what good teachers are already doing. And that point where the kids are saying, holy cow, it feels so good. If they do, even kids who you might not they might not be your favorite kids. You put them in that situation, and honest to goodness, they blossom, and you see them in a new light, and they really grow. I know it sounds trite, but they do. They grow as human beings, and they grow in their character when they engage in this. And a lot of times, they just need the opportunity to do it. That's my 2 cents at the high school level. So.
What you said about sometimes it's not your favorite kid. Um, the other thing that people have found is, what's your least favorite thing to teach? And try teaching that by putting it in the context of the community, and it sort of brings it to life. And that goes with this quote: when you have a purpose and you're needed, there's not much to do other than step back and let them do the work. But it doesn't just happen. You don't just drop that in their lap. We have to guide them with knowledge and skills and experience to help them find their purpose and know the steps. And that's where learning to give can be a help. We have hundreds of lessons, activities, video guides, literature guides, all kinds of stuff to support your education, your instruction, as well as to give your kids ideas of what they could do to help understand the issue, or how it fits with what they're learning in social studies and civics. So what our resources do is give you that support to help them get to that point of really leading and changing their lives. Be interested to hear if anyone else wants to add a thought related to teaching that vocabulary of giving, and that joy of giving that you heard in some of the kids at the end.
For my school, we're incorporating teaching for transformation, and this really gets to the heart of what we're striving for in formative learning experiences, where we look for real people that have real needs to do real work with, and this just really complements that. And whether that's within our own school community, or whether that's in our local community, or more internationally, I feel like that video is just kind of a complement of what I've been working with my 6th graders with, and what our entire staff will be incorporating more and more of next year. Not just like a service project, but really taking what you're learning and connecting it to an experience outside of themselves.
So well said. Thank you.
That's excellent. I think the operative words you said was the connection with your own students, because I think very traditionally, at Christmas time, you go to schools and they have the cardboard boxes and people bring cans in. That's all well and good, but they're not really connected to the act. And you also mentioned the different scales. With learning to give, a lot of the activities let the kids decide what they want to do. So if they wanted to do something on an international scale, or help something that happened overseas, or something outside of Michigan, just a personal, tangible example, I asked my students what they wanted to do, and they found out a lot of the local charities would get clothing and whatnot. They didn't have physical bags to put the clothing in. I know it sounds silly, but we got a paper bag drive. We brought the physical bags that they could put the charitable items in, and that's what they needed. So my students chose a very local scale. But with Betsy, I've had the opportunity to work with teachers from North Carolina and Washington, D.C., and New York. This is a national program, even though it's based here in Michigan. And kids choose different things, but the point is it's part of themselves, and they feel the ownership in the process, versus putting a can of corn in a box is cool, but that doesn't really cut it on a character building level, in my opinion.
You remind me of a group of kids who they observed all the stress of their classmates, and so they actually learned about stress, and they found out about meditation and yoga and things they could do with their hands to relieve stress. And they took their knowledge that they had researched and they shared it with other classrooms. They taught yoga, they taught meditation, and they also made, those stress balls with balloons and flour inside. And they delivered 500 of those around their community along with instruction. So, you never know what kids are going to come up with based on, their thinking. And an adult probably wouldn't have even thought of all that. Feel free to interrupt. Go ahead, Steve.
If I might add, thank you.
Yeah.
At Hazel Park Schools, we had Challenge Day coming on a yearly basis, and we took the motivation and the energy from the annual Challenge Day experience with kids, parents, teachers, and administration. And we followed up by having weekly meetings at lunchtime. We created an empowerment zone, kind of a safe zone where kids could feel free to chat and find some purpose. And a couple times a month, we'd have a guest speaker come in and speak about yoga or the community, what's going on. And yeah, we did some fundraising from there. Nothing really that stands out for like a large community wide, but we tried to meet the needs of those that we were aware of in the school. And sometimes, yes, linked into those can drives or those holiday seasons of giving. So it was a good experience. Every week, kids knew where to go get some free pizza and just sit and listen. Thank you.
Listening is such a key piece of this process.
Yep.
Listening to each other, listening to needs, listening to the community, getting to know their community.
Yeah, and if I might add, there was we had a theme every week, or maybe worked it into a monthly theme, where feelings of emotions could be brought out, and just it was an open space. And we did have everyone from drama, band kids to even athletes, and teachers would drop in, and it was a good spot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, to piggyback off what Steven said, I'm curious, have your schools been really emphasizing this SEL, social emotional learning, in the last couple of years, or is it just my district? Are any of your districts getting big emphasis placed upon the SEL? I mean, I think those are the three letters I've been seeing the last 2 years. What we are at MGLV. What's MGLVA? I'm not familiar with that acronym. Virtual Academy? Okay.
They're looking at SEL.
Okay. Yeah, so Learning to Give lends itself to a lot of those initiatives which have been coming down the pipe, as well with the social emotional emphasis, which I think after this year, I think we all can relate to. It's been a year.
Gaining self-awareness and listening and recognizing their place in community are all those social emotional learning skills.
Yeah, and we come from different districts, and what was going on at Hazel Park with your special event might be different in Ithaca or wherever we are teaching. But I think just looking at our normal school year, we think of opportunities to bring philanthropy into it, and through a lot of different organizations, service hours. Even I know the private schools are very big on X amount of service hours. So it fits well into just about any construct in which we teach, which is good. So anyway, Betsy, we weren't gonna do the breakout rooms, right?
No, we're not going to do the breakout rooms. But I do want to just take a pause on this, because this is something you can do with your kids of any age. We have all been givers and recipients of philanthropy in one form or another. So it's helpful just to take a minute and think, how have I participated in giving my time, talent, or treasure? Where have I seen my family, my friends, my kids doing that? And with your students, just give them a chance to pair up, talk about it, and realize there are so many ways we give, and it can be with our actions, with our voice, with our intentions, with our sharing. There are so many ways we give, and also recipients. And then to take some time, and I encourage you to use the chat room to just, describe a really brief, either a time you were giving or receiving, so that we can see some examples. And then to reflect on, how did that feel? as the recipient. How did that feel as the giver? Engaging the emotion and talking and listening is an important part of philanthropy. Just to give a short example, someone that I work with had cancer, and her best friend came by her hospital room every day and painted her toenails, or every week and painted her toenails. Just such a simple thing, but it was something she could do. So you can imagine, both as the receiver and the giver, what a meaningful experience it is. So engage emotions and get kids thinking about how that feels and that they want to do it. So Anthony, I don't know if you saw anything in the chat. I want to go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add that, so I work at an alternative high school in Plymouth Canton, and one of the things that we do to encourage this kind of like volunteerism is give kids high school credit for community service work. And so if they complete 100 hours of community service, they get a credit towards graduation. This year, another teacher and I started kind of a student activist club. But I don't know if other teachers were finding this. We had a very difficult time engaging students into joining through this virtual land. And we're hoping that once we go back face to face, that we'll get more participation and talk about community service projects and being involved in the community. But it's like the kids just have been so difficult to engage, even when we know that they're interested in these conversations. To do it through virtual it was not working out.
Yeah, I want to speak to that. Because you guys brought up like another social emotional, and then you brought up kind of this virtual land. My school, we've been blessed to actually be in person for pretty much the entire year here. But part of our plan, if we did have to go back online and back virtual, is we made it so that Fridays that our kids had to check in. They had to check in, no academic, no nothing, almost kind of like a homeroom for virtual. They had to come check in. It was an attendance required sort of thing, where we were just able to sit and listen and just, hey, how are you doing? How can I be an advocate for you in kind of what you're experiencing right now? And I mean, I thought that was a pretty good idea because our kids really are struggling in that virtual environment to connect, connect to some of the bigger things we want them to be connected to.
And I'll just jump in too from that. I mean, I'm at the same school. Our sixth graders right now in my geography classes have adopted our seniors. This has not been a senior year that they expected to have. And so we're just joining alongside of them. They're paired up with a senior and we're encouraging them along the way. As they approach the finish line, we designed cards and made cards for each one of them. And we just have several little projects along the way that we're doing to support them. And because it's really hard right now to go too far out of the community, all things COVID, and just all of the restrictions that are out there. This is a way that we have found, like within our school community, that we can come alongside and help others, within our school community. So.
Yeah, and we've done the other thing, going the other way, right? Where we've had high school kids who go down into the elementary, reading buddies, and really just, write those elementary kids some encouraging notes and develop relationships there as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent program. I'm glad you sound like you're at a pretty good school that, would do something like that. And, I hope in our minds we are thinking about what we can do in our own schools and when this COVID passes, because, any classroom teacher on here, I think we can attest this has been the craziest, most difficult year to engage kids ever. But my hope is, and I think it's grounded in reality, when we do get back to normal, they're going to have a new sense of rejuvenation, and they're going to be so ripe to connect with each other and connect with community. So I see it as an opportunity with this up and coming year and doing the best we can with them. Hey, Betsy, do you mind showing the more tangible part of the website? The teacher and the, I think.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to, I'm gonna skip this video, but one of the key things I wanted to communicate about this video is that through service and service learning, kids learn that they're part of a diverse community because they actually learn about their community, but that even more importantly, they learn that they have a role in it. And in this time of COVID and separation, it is a time to learn about community, even if you can't actually go and visit sites, but to learn about nonprofits and learn about issues and build some of the empathy and understanding of what needs are. So we can share this with you so that you can watch that video later, but I think that's an important thing, that this is a time when we can learn about the community in different ways. I'm going to take you over to the website, and Anthony and I are going to show you some key things from there. We have lessons, activities, guides, and training to facilitate these types of things. And I won't read this list to you, but we've been talking about all of these things that this kind of teaching and learning brings. So I'm going to switch over to the website now. It's learningtogive.org. And like I said, there are hundreds and hundreds of resources in here. And so we really encourage you just to dive in and figure out what's here. So this is our homepage, and right on the front is a search, and you can search for
Excuse me to interrupt.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Can anybody see this? Can anybody see the website? Or yeah, Betsy?
Oh, you can't?
No, we can't.
Oh, all right. I think what happened is when I did a video, I lost something. Let me go back to sharing, right? Hang on.
Please, yeah.
I'm looking for, can you see it now? Nope.
No, not yet.
Okay, hang on. More. I'm gonna expand my screen. Thank you for your grace. There we go. There.
There we go.
All right. So here's our website, and I was saying you can search here in this bar for a content area, an issue area, a community theme, a book, anything. But we're going to dive into just some things that are called out for you. And Anthony, I'm going to point out a couple things, but then maybe you can share some of your favorites.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Okay, so under the Teach menu, we have several things to drop down, and under the Get Started menu, several things. So under Teach, one of the things that I want to point out is activities. We have activity guides related to simple service. These are great things for virtual. These are things kids can do from home. We have probably about 30 different guides. Shout out to teachers. Kids can write a letter to you. They've been listening to you, learning about you. They can write a letter saying how much they appreciate you. So you can see it's a very simple project. One of our most popular ones is about gratitude for essential workers. Here's make and donate masks, bring bees and butterflies to your garden. Just a nice variety of very simple service projects. And some classrooms will say, you pick your project, you just tell us how you're going to do it. So that's like a grab and go. We have literature guides. Anthony's written some of the novels here that, you know, all have themes of generosity and understanding issues. I'll get down to the secondary ones.
Yeah. Hey, can you go up for a little bit?
Yeah.
Here's a tangible example, and here is my opportunity to work with the English teachers in our building. So the book in the middle there called We Are Not Yet Equal, the very important book, I feel. And it was a little cross-curricular work between our English teachers and our social studies teachers. And, as a teacher, you don't want to make your life any more difficult. And there's reading guides that work for English teachers. So, as a teacher, whatever you're searching for, it's there. And in terms of how it was created, the people who have written these lessons are very capable teachers. The people I've worked with Learning to Give are very good-hearted, very veteran, very solid teachers that do this. And again, it is a nonprofit. Nobody's doing this for anything but to get children involved with giving of their time, talent, and treasure. So a lot of these lessons were really written from the heart, from issues that were near and dear to the people who wrote them. So, again, you don't want to get lost in the morass of having all of these lessons, but you have a specific topic. So if you do something for Earth Day, so Betsy, for instance, let's say maybe Earth Day is not. How about Martin Luther King's birthday? So let's pretend, because we have a lot of history teachers, a lot of secondary teachers. So let's say you were looking to do something for Martin Luther King's birthday. And maybe it'd be an easy segue from what you're teaching in class to a service project.
I'm going to put a grade level in here.
Yeah, probably high school. We have a lot of high school teachers.
Here's a good one. Powerful words unite us in service. We have an elementary and a secondary version of that. And in this, they look at Martin Luther King Jr.'s words and messages, and then they make a poster.
Yeah, and
advocating.
And one thing, Betsy's going to be modest, but Betsy is the. Are you the only employee at Learning to Give now?
Only full-time employee currently.
Only full-time employee. Okay, Betsy
Yeah.
does a wonderful job, and I've been involved with Learning to Give for 4 years now. And Betsy always is keeping up with the times and with the changes, and so it stays very contemporary. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, the Learning to Give has been around for 25 years.
Yep.
Okay, so it's been around for 25 years. And what happens after 25 years, some kind of old and stagnant lessons get replaced with new contemporary lessons. So, for me in the last 4 years of using it as a classroom teacher, it has kept up with the times, whether it be, for example, this is Black History Month, I see a racial healing. So with all of the unrest we've had as a nation in recent months and years, Learning to Give opened up dialogues to how to have difficult conversations in your classroom. And it keeps up with the times very, very well. And Betsy, that's because of you. I'm going to publicly compliment you and embarrass you. But you do that. So for me, again, with we're on these virtual calls and we're teachers, and you're probably getting lots of different sessions and lots of different links. The one thing I can tell you, using it firsthand, it really lends itself to what we're already doing. And hopefully there's an issue that's near and dear to you. And if you don't have your kids involved with something like this, it's a wonderful experience, even if you can try to do it once a year. And if you're already doing it, you already know how these are the highlights of your year, to break away from the lesson planning and the grading of papers to see your students at their best. It really does my heart and soul good for moments like that. And it will do the same for you, I can tell you. Hey, that's me.
Yeah.
my
I'm
daughter.
scrolling through Anthony's work here.
Yeah, well, there's lots of stuff there. So the one thing is, if you wouldn't mind going onto the site and signing up, you're not going to get bombarded with email after email, but logging into Learning to Give and getting started, it would be, and then you can peruse it yourself. So Betsy, can you show people, if they are willing to sign up for Learning to Give, how to do that?
Yeah, I'm logged in right now, and I'm an admin, so you see all the background stuff here. But you right here, I'll log out.
Your hair grew.
Yeah, pandemic hair. Create an account right here, and when you create an account, you don't have to fill out all the details. But if you put your email in, your name, where you are located on the map, your subject, you will get on our newsletter unless you choose to unsubscribe. There's no cost. There's no harassment other than a monthly newsletter. But knowing a little bit about you helps us understand where our work is active. And I'll tell you what, in the last year, we've had a 30% increase. We have over 1 million visitors to our site annually, and we had a 30% increase this year because so many people are looking for resources that engage their kids in new ways in community. But yeah, we will send you a newsletter. We like to know where you are, how many people are accessing. Because we're a nonprofit, that's how we get our funding, is knowing who is using it. You can also up here read about stories of other people and the service they're doing and some thought leadership on what we're doing. We have some professional development, online courses. If you click on Get Started here, this will give you just some hints about getting started.
Hey,
So I just wanted to give you that. Anthony, go ahead.
The Teach One section is a fairly simple, easy entree into doing things, and it's topical. So, you know, obviously it's February, and the first thing there is Black History Month. And if you're doing anything at your school, like we're doing at our school, there's ample items for the English teachers or for the social studies teachers, or to do something within homeroom. And then it's going to change. I think we have Martin Luther King Day. I think we have Earth Day, Black History Month. It changes with the times. So
Yeah,
Teach
plus
One.
we have current events.
Current events as well.
Yeah, Teach One is 4 times a year, but current events is updated more often. Plus, on the home page, every week we put a different resource up here, and we change what lessons are brought to the front. But your best option is going to be searching for the things you need to teach. And then Anthony, we didn't talk about aligned to standards.
Yeah, I don't know how bureaucratic your administrators are. Some of us on the call have a lot of autonomy, and some people have those micromanaging administrators. I guess we don't have enough time to complain about those, but if you are one of those teachers they have that type of principal, everything is aligned to the Huskies that we need to teach right now. So if you had an administrator who, for whatever odd reason, was reluctant to say, I don't think we should use this curriculum because we don't have it aligned to this and that, it aligns to our respective standards. And I think it would be rare for an administrator to get in the way of the good stuff the students do with learning to give. But just in case, if you need that, if you need to show it, I mean, I don't know, my first 4 years, I had to write in all of my Huskies in Glicks when I was at the middle school, and it got checked until I was tenured. We all have different situations, but if you need that sort of thing, here it is.
So I just drilled down on a standard, and it brought me to a lesson plan that I selected. But then I also want to show you at the very bottom of the lesson plan, you can also just identify what standards are addressed in the lesson. So you can either search by the standard or see what's addressed.
Yeah. So hopefully on the call, you are thinking when in your school schedule it could work, when you could get your kids involved, whether it be through homeroom, an extracurricular group, even faith-based groups. If you teach at a parochial school, there's a faith-based section, and you may have students who are involved in scouting or their church youth group. You know, the way I look at it, I don't care if you're private, parochial, if kids are involved in making the world a better place, that's wonderful. I don't care how you get them to do it, but I hope you get them to do it. And I'll tell you what, this is my 20th year, and some of my favorite things I do in school are learning to give lessons and items and seeing what it does to everyone. It's just very contagious, positive energy. And I don't know how you're all feeling. I need some contagious, positive energy after a year in my basement, sequestered in our little gilded cage that we've been in. Well, not you, Ryan. You got to get out there with you. Yeah, I've been in my gilded cage for about a year. So I am very anxious. In fact, my students are doing this in a week. We start a week the following week to start doing this, and it's one of the highlights, something I'm looking forward to, and it's fantastic. It does your heart good, believe me when I tell you.
I want to point out two resources here that if you want to get started just as quickly as possible, kind of identifying what your kids care about, these are two resources. And I'll show you where I found them. Under Get Started, Build Community. Because that's how you get started, by building community. So on this page, the first two activities, these are scripted for you, but there is a nice video of Anthony giving an overview. The Blue Sky activity helps people envision a world where an issue they care about is solved, and then you have discussion around their ideas. And Map Your Heartbreak is identifying what you care about and how it breaks your heart when someone else is limited in their ability to appreciate what you are appreciating.
Yeah,
so
it's
conversation starters.
If I could suggest to secondary teachers, Map Your Heartbreak is much better geared for secondary students than Blue Sky, I feel. And I've used Map Your Heartbreak, and even my tough cases, even my kids who are reluctant, have gotten involved with that. So I would strongly suggest Map Your Heartbreak as the first activity you do to gauge where your students are, to see what they want to work on. And it's easier to go with the flow than fight it.
And there's Anthony.
The reason why it's not in front of my whole student body, this was right in the heart of COVID. So I took my freshman daughter, and you can see how happy she is. I'm like, hey, honey, let's make a video. She's a trooper. So there's my freshman daughter being wonderful girl. I'm lucky. I'm going to say that. I'll say that publicly. I have good kids. I'm fortunate.
So that page is full of building community. The next one underneath there is developing skills. This get to the root activity is awesome.
Yeah.
After you've kind of settled on the issue your kids care about, then you start talking about what are the root causes, what are the effects, and who are the community nonprofits and people who are experts we can learn from about what are the needs and what could we do. So that's a real conversation mover. And then underneath build community, develop skills and knowledge is take action. And on here, you're going to find, some details about how to do service learning, more of those videos like we saw, different types of service. So they're not just always doing the volunteer work or the collections. There are so many different ways we can serve. And then these toolkits by issue area, I showed you those at another time too. Once you've settled on your issue area, you can dive into these toolkits, and I'll just open a random one. It'll curate a list of lesson plans for you and give you some ideas. This one's a little bit different than the others, but it'll give you service project ideas and potential partners and things in the community. So all of the toolkits have all of those components. This one is a little bit unique, but we have those for about 14 different issue areas.
So we think we have about 2-3 minutes left, and we want to respect your time. And we really appreciate you, all the options you had there. You chose to be with us. And I personally believe in learning to give very much. It's really improved my life as a teacher. I do feel it will improve your life as a teacher. And I hope that you look at the site, sign up and peruse it, and that your kids get out there and make the world a better place. And that's my hope for all of us. So that's my ending. So Betsy, I'll let you take us to a soft landing here.
Anthony, I couldn't do anything better, but the website is learningtogive.org. And we encourage you just to peruse around. The professional development does have a website tour if that's helpful to you, but also Anthony and I are happy to answer any questions. And if you go to the About Staff page, you can
you know who's great is Miss Roberts. She's for the middle school people. Yeah, so where is she?
Right
there she is. Kathy Roberts. She's an exceptional teacher. I mean, these people I've had the opportunity to work with. I'm the low man on the totem pole. I assure you, these are people who are very sharp and very kind. And so, for example, if you were a middle school teacher and you got a hold of Kathy Roberts, or or Leah. I mean, they have a lot of experience in the classroom. These are real deal teachers who have used it, and they're helpful. And I'd be glad to help anybody as well. So I'll put my email in the chat if anybody wants it. If you don't, that's fine too. I got real creative with it. FuzzyBunny74 at AOL. Anthony Salsiccioli at gmail.com. The same I would buy the Fuzzy Bunny at AOL.
And mine is super easy. Hello at Learning to Give.
There you go. Okay.
But we'd love to talk about it. We could talk about it for 4 hours. So contact us if you'd like any brainstorming.
Okay, well, thanks everybody. Yeah, Adam, it was great to see you.
This was awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. All right, well, stay well, everyone. Good luck with this, finishing the school year. Let's be strong. We're going to make it through. We got this.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you too, Anthony.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Anthony. Awesome.
Yeah. Hey, Betsy, you want to stay on the call first? Well, I think it's because it's the MCSS. We have to get off the call.
Yeah,
right?
give me a call.
Okay, I'll give you a call.
Okay.
Okay.